Here's one of our favorite clips from Neighborly Discourse with Billy and Steve.
For a right of center perspective, okay? And so you have publications that come out left of center or right of center. And I follow two publications. One is to the right and one is to the left. I try to get balance. So this one that I follow, which is to the left, and they do good work, but they are clearly to the left. There was this interview that was happening, and it doesn't matter what the interview is about, but at some point they got to this place, and this is what I want to bring up. The interviewee said that his dad and his family, he came from a Rush Limbaugh family. Okay, and so when you say Rush Limbaugh, there's automatically there's an idea, there's a picture you have in your mind of the people who would listen to Rush Limbaugh on a regular basis, right? And so he said, that's the family that I came from, okay? So affirmative action, those are like buzzkill words for him growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And his dad was a civil engineer, and he said, and he remember one time at a family dinner or whatever, the subject matter came up of affirmative action. And he was surprised at what his dad said. And then later on, one-on-one, he talked to his dad and said, like, Dad, I'm kind of surprised what you said. And he said, you know what? 10 years ago, if I would have had this conversation, I would have been where you thought where I would have been. But because I'm a civil engineer, and at the time, he was working on a project, like I think redoing the Louisville airport or something like that, some huge project. He said, by working on these projects, I see the good old boy system full force.
Mm-hmm.
And what I see is that it is very easy for Billy to be in a place of influence. Like you might be a city councilor or something like that,
yeah.
And you know this project's coming up, and you went to school with Steve, and like, hey, Steve, I got this thing coming up. You want a piece of this? And you bring Steve in,
yeah.
And then Steve's like, well, yeah, I want a piece of that. And you know what? Hey, Eddie and, so-and-so, hey, I got this thing coming up. You want a piece of this? Oh, yeah, I want a piece of that, And then before you know it, we got this cabal going where literally we are boys who are going to take this over. And now here's the thing. When I heard this in my mind, I'm like, this is not racism. This is good old boyism. You know what I'm saying? It literally is, you're in a place of influence. And of course, you're going to call on those people who you know first before you go to someone that you don't know. What's interesting is that the person that he was interviewing was the president of this publication. And that president said that anytime he had to realize that he has this intrinsic bias himself, that he has this Rolodex of people. And anytime he needs anything, that's the first place he goes to. And he realized one day, and I'm not even sure when, but he realized that Rolodex were all men. That there were no, this is the point I'm making here. That they're all men. There are very little women, very, very, very little diversity in his Rolodex of place that he goes to. And this is the pool that he pulls from. And he says, now, what's interesting is that I'm the president of this publication that's supposed to represent this people group, right? It's a global publication. It's supposed to represent this people group. But when I look at what I'm surrounded around, there's no diversity at all. And I know we strive for always getting the best, but are we missing something when we say go get the best, and in getting the best, we become monolithic, we become one-dimensional, and there is no width to us at all. And so I threw that out there to say, like, because I am the guy who would rail against affirmative action. You heard me talk about, what happened with Flores and the whole idea of like, if they don't want to hire you, they don't want to hire you. You know what I'm saying? Like, get out of here. But this is the first time that I actually heard an argument that made me say, even if you take racism out of it, and I would dare say, let's just take it out of it, because we don't know the hearts of men. But it is true that people will cleave to or tie themselves to people that they already know, that they're already comfortable with, is that something that should be broken up, or something that should be guarded against? Is the point I'm making.
The long answer is no.
Really? You see no validity in anything that he's saying.
Nope. Is the job getting done?
That's not the point.
That's the point.
That's the.
This is where
that is the what's the word? The shallow response. It's
no,
to say
that's the
is
practical response. Is the job getting done?
But can the practical response be shallow?
No. Is the job getting done? Yes or no? That's all that matters.
But I don't know if that's true though. I mean, it's too simple. Let me say it a different way. On both sides, we get to a place where we just make things black and white all the time. Black and white. Black and white is binary. 1 or 2, 1 or 0, 1 or 0, 1 or 0.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing else that it could possibly be. And I believe that we put ourselves on both sides, but now I'm talking to the right. We put ourselves in situations where we're open for attack, where we're open for ridicule and criticism because we're so 1 and 0, 1 and 0, 1 and 0. By not being able to say, okay, I never thought about that before. There might be some truth there. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if the answer that you're giving me is the right answer, but you're giving me something to consider that was never part of my equation before, and now I have to recalibrate. I now have to recalculate. Because I'm saying this to say that in the 70%, and this is really the big picture, in the 70% where you have your Barry Wise on one side, and I'm telling you, how can we get Barry Wise to not be so liberal? How can we get her to change her position and say like, yeah, these leftists are going too far to the left that I'm not going to join them? The way that I believe that we got to get a Barry Wise over is to not be so 1 and 0 with everything that we got to.
So we have to cater to her so she's okay?
It's not catering to her. It's admitting that there's a point there that we never considered before.
Is she going to admit that it's also okay that you can like who you like and go how you want to run your business your own way?
I'm saying put that on hold for a second, because right now, I'm going to answer that, but put that on hold for a second, because right now we're giving her, we're saying, well, unless you agree with me, unless you give, I'm not going to give, right? And I'm saying that before we ask her to give, before we even assume what her answer is going to be, are you willing to give?
No, I'm not giving first. It'll never happen. And if I could find my Family Guy clip that says the Republicans always seem to come around first.
I know you're gonna say that. Okay,
so,
listen. Hold on a second. Forget about it. Barry's not here.
We can keep debating. We can keep having the conversation. Just a heads up.
Listen,
nothing's changing my mind.
Barry's
my
not
friend.
here. There's no one left or center here. It's just you and me.
Yeah.
Okay. In a vacuum with no one else, you're not going to be tied to this for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. Are you willing to give?
No, I'm not giving first.
No, you're saying giving first. I'm saying, are you willing to concede that there's a possibility that your way may not be the right way?
If you admit it first.
But again, forget about the other side.
No, that's the only way I'm going to do it.
They're not part of the conversation.
No.
It's like everyone's here is on your side.
No. And if there's an open conversation,
therein lies the problem.
You know what the problem is, Steve?
What's that?
Someone convinced that guy that having friends that are his way is racist and wrong.
They
brainwashed him.
He wasn't
to think,
saying no.
Steve,
See,
okay. Here's what you said.
Okay.
He goes to his Rolodex.
Uh-huh.
He knows he can count on these people.
Uh-huh.
But these people are all men. Whoa, I got to get more diverse. That's a problem. Why is that a problem?
Let me tell you something that happened to me.
Why is that a problem?
I'm going to tell you. In absolutes, maybe not a problem, right? I managed a store once, right? It was a mechanic shop, and all the mechanic. It's a franchise,
Yeah.
And all the mechanic shops that I knew of, part of this franchise, had two things in common: male dominated, and they were all minorities working in the shops.
Okay.
For the most part, and I don't care what neighborhood the shop was in. That's what you would see, and there's some other. Stereotypes I can throw in there, but those are the two main things. So once I got into a position of being able to hire this particular shop that I was managing, I did two things very intentionally. I hired two women and I specifically hired non-black employees.
Okay.
So I ended up having, out of 15 employees, half of them represented a diverse work pool.
Okay.
And I did this with intentionally in my mind.
Just keep in mind, diverse means black and Hispanic. It doesn't mean white.
What do you mean?
There's a famous picture of NFL referees. They're all black. And it says, diversity at work, thank you, NFL. It's just black and Latino and women. It has nothing to do with being white. So you can't be diverse. You can't hire white people and say you're being diverse. No, that's not allowed.
Listen, hold on. Forget about what the world says. I'm telling you that by me hiring a white person, I was being diverse.
No, I agree with you.
Okay.
But diversity does not mean white.
Okay, but for the sake of this story.
Yes. No, I agree with you 100%.
Okay, so I realized that, hold on, most of my clientele are white people.
Yeah.
Okay, and I get a lot of women who come in here.
Mm-hmm.
And you know women, when it comes to mechanics, their husbands put them on a tight leash. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, when you go in there, do not do anything, because they can get raked against the code, right?
Yeah.
And so they already come in with their guards. So by having women and by having whites in my establishment as employees, I felt that when people came to the store, they would be more comfortable, because it doesn't matter if I had a black customer or female or white customer, whatever the case may be, they would feel like I'm someplace where I'm represented. Does that make sense? That I can see a representation of myself here. I can tell you that I took that particular store from wherever we were financially, and I increased it by like 20% in my first year there. Like, I got promotions in this company multiple times, but one of my first promotions was being able to take this particular store financially from one place to another place. And I remember one of the vice presidents was asking me, like, Dan, how did you do it? And I was very honest about it. I had a diverse workforce. I felt like I created an environment, among other things, I created an environment when people came in, they felt like they were well represented. So going back to what you were saying about the president of this company, I'm not saying that he can't get the job done. I'm not saying that he can't get the job done well based on his Rolodex. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying to you is that he recognized that his constituency is so diverse, but yet his thought process is not diverse. Like, he doesn't have a diversity of thought. They're all coming from one line. And is he really serving his constituency by operating like that? So that's all I'm saying. It's like, without saying that I'm wrong, can you say that, but maybe we can do it better?
I don't particularly believe them.
Oh my goodness!
So
we're part of the problem then. If we can't come off our place,
you want people to be represented, right? Mm-hmm. Gay people exist. They're affectionate. What happens when you see a gay kiss on TV?
It grosses me out. I'm not gonna lie.
They're being represented, so that shouldn't be a problem. You should be okay with that.
But
they're being represented.
Hold on. Let me ask you a question.
So based on what you said,
you're saying that. But listen, it grosses me out to see anyone kiss. To be honest with you.
But I got you. But
why'd you bring that up? Just so
because you said when people come to your mechanic shop, you want them to feel represented, feel more comfortable. So what the liberals are doing with TV, they're putting more transgender on, putting more gay stuff on because they want them to feel included, be represented.
That's a very good point. Listen, that's a very good point. But listen, I said I want people to feel represented, right?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't knowingly put, like, let's say a pedophile, have a pedophile out there, right? I wouldn't have a murderer out there knowingly, right? There are some representations that I wouldn't knowingly put them out there because it's not a representation. It's not representative of the masses, right? It's not representative of the norm. Mm-hmm. So I'm not trying to represent everybody. I'm just trying to grab.
But I'm simply saying to what you said. I want people to be represented. So these people they feel they should be represented on TV. They're not been represented their entire life, so now they're on there. It's the same thing.
Even if it's the same thing, the only argument that I'm making is from our vantage point.
Yeah.
Because, like, you just made that statement, and I'm saying, okay, I hear you, but how does that affect what? Because, like, you went to a place where this particular subject matter I'm kind of sensitive to and I'm very biased towards. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying that even in my biases towards that particular point, how does that change what I'm saying?
It does. I want you to see the same thing.
You want me to see the full breadth of what I'm saying. That
You're
if
saying
I,
you
if I can
want
accept
people to
that,
be represented,
I got to be able to
included.
accept this.
Yeah, so that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I don't care about your biases. It's
Okay.
simple black and white. You want people to be included and feel like they're being represented. So you can't get upset when they push these things on TV because they want people to be accepted and feel represented. It's the exact same thing.
So here's the thing, and I think that's an excellent point, excellent pushback you just put up.
I'm not trying to push back.
No, but
we're
I'm
conversating.
saying.
You would say arguing. I'm saying we're conversating.
Listen, look, and I'm glad you noticed that I didn't say arguing, right? So, but I think that's very valid what you're saying.
Yeah.
So that goes back to, okay, Steve started way over here.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Wise started way over here, okay? Can we come in a little bit? That's all I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Because like you know that the whole homosexual thing, that whole agenda thing, that there's a hard line that I have, right?
Yeah.
So the question is, well, Steve, are you willing to come off that hard line ever so slightly? So that's where we are with this conversation.
Yeah.
So like the whole affirmative action thing, I'm really against it. I'm not for it whatsoever. But I hear this liberal guy, and both these guys were white,
Yeah.
right? These are two white guys making a earnest effort to explain their position. And for the first time in my entire life, I heard someone say something that was like, I never considered that before. Never considered that before, you know? And is there a better way? And maybe there is. I don't know if affirmative action is in fact, I can tell you that affirmative action is not the better way, right? But I can understand Barry Wise's position of, but let's start thinking about what that better way can be. The problem is if I say there is no better way, my way is it, stop talking about it, just not even think about a better way. Why are you wasting our time? That's the problem. And I think that we are in a culture right now where both sides are saying there is no better way. This is it. It's all or nothing. You know, get entrenched, you know what I'm trying to say, and it's war. And we got to get off that footing.
Well, that would be the change because unless you are forcing someone or putting it out there, trying to guilt them into thinking differently, or again, putting affirmative action in place, there is no other way. And without you making someone do something they wouldn't normally do, those are the, like, how else would you know that you should be more diverse unless it's being told to you that you're doing something wrong?
Okay, so
and then the fix is you have to do it.
No, but see, again,
well, that's my point. What's the fix?
We're jumping. You know what I'm
What's
trying to say?
in the middle then?
We're like from 0 to 1. There's 0.0009.
But my point is though,
there are gradations.
But what is there?
Okay, so I'm gonna totally be transparent in saying that I don't have an answer, right? But
I don't think you would. I'm just thinking because I'm gonna listen to you talk for like 10 minutes, so I'm thinking, okay, I get what you're saying. So unless you constantly bring it up and force someone to question their judgment, which I think is manipulative and wrong, the only other thing I could think of at the moment is you have to make them do it. Because left to your own device, to your own stuff, this guy would have never thought he was doing something wrong unless it was told to him subconsciously or otherwise. Hey, man, you only like white people, only men. You're the problem.
Okay, but hold on. So, man, this is the most fascinating conversation we've had in a long time.
We're fascinating guys.
Because I agree with everything that I agree with mostly what you're saying.
And I understand what you're saying is there shouldn't be force or manipulation. There has to be another way. But based on years and years of this,
we haven't found another way.
So odds are there is no other way.
Okay, so what I guess where I want to lay this down is to say that can we start by saying that if we speak in extreme, is that the word I'm looking for? If we speak in absolutes, by saying that there is no other way, then we've lost. You know what I'm saying? Now we're dug in. And I'm saying, let's get rid of that language and say, okay, we haven't found another way. It may exist. It may exist, but we haven't found it yet. Because I'm telling you right now, Barry Wise, affirmative action ain't the answer. And she might be saying the same thing. Well, okay, it may exist, but I'm telling you what you're doing over there ain't the answer. Okay, so we got a starting point. Let's work this through. But to give you some sort of an answer to how do you work this out, which I don't have an answer to.
Well, they're the answer.
What made me? Who am I? I'm nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving the keys to this $1 million company and saying like make money. Mm-hmm. What made me say, you know what? First thing we need to do is diversify. You know, it's not wokeism in me. It's not. In fact, I'm. If anything, I'm diversifying in the other direction. You know, I'm making sure that that I got white people in here and I got women in here.
Yeah.
You know, so what made me think this way? And I'm saying this
Probably
not,
because you were uncomfortable being around all black people.
we need to get a better thing because I want to bang on the table right now. You know what I'm saying? But I know it would sound terrible. Oh my goodness, man! No, man. Come on.
But again, back to what you said, more represented, a safe environment. You said these words, and you said you added white people and women. So like, you're around black men, and you weren't inviting. It wasn't inviting. It wasn't a safe environment for consumers.
So
like I'm being joking, but at the same time,
so
you understand where I'm coming
but
from.
I guess from a psychological standpoint, I'm like, what would make you give up your money to me?
Yeah.
What would make you more comfortable giving it? What would make it easier for me to get money out of your pocket? And that is creating an environment that you feel more comfortable in. That's my thought process, right?
My thing is, are you doing a good job? There you get my money.
Right. Well, yeah, I agree, but I'm saying, but again, the math didn't change. The math showed that okay, I did something different. I don't think that I'm a particularly great salesperson. I had women who had no background in automotive at all, and they were outselling men by leaps and bounds. Why?
Because men are stupid and like women
because they're more trustworthy. Right?
Who?
And women in general. Please don't go there. Don't go there.
Well, you said women are selling the men.
Outselling the men. Like I had women. I went from having men at the point of attack to having women at the point of attack, and my sales started going up.
Oh, yeah, because men see a woman. Oh my God, she's cute. She touched my arm. She wants to do me. Every time a woman opens a door for a man, it's his first thought is, oh my God, she loves me. So no, that's psychological. You play to their natural instincts. Oh, she's talking to me. I love her. If I buy a car, she's gonna want my phone number, so I'm gonna buy the car. That's what happened.